you've gone through, be ready to embrace the day. Say, I will make it. I will make it. Don't let any negativity come your way. Do not be discouraged by what you planned last week and didn't work out. This is another week. You have 5 working days, or call it 7 days, to break even. So as long as you have a positive mindset, I'm very sure you will make it. Now, all the moon watchers, oh, it was very interesting seeing people all over the globe, the sky watchers across the globe witnessing the total, that is lunar eclipse, which turns the full moon red. Now, in Uganda, I don't know where you were or if you took interest in this, but of course, many social media platforms were talking about this. X, some prominent TikTokers here in Uganda and globally were talking about this. So I don't know where you were, or if you took part, if you tried, if you've even been following up on this story, because it's something that we really expected and many people took it into. But if you didn't, well, that happened, and you can still go back and check through events what really transpired. Well, allow me now take you through some of the local stories that we were able to get for you, and we feel, yes, you should take a second glance at them. Now, we begin with the residents of Wakiso district who have tasked officials from Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited to explain why power keeps going off since they took over Umeme. Now, this was during a meeting with the Prime Minister of Uganda, Robert Nabanja, at Wakiso district headquarters. The government, through the Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited, UEDCL, took over management and distribution of electricity from Umeme. However, UEDCL is still grappling with a lot of challenges of power blackouts across the country. Now, during a meeting with the Prime Minister, Robert Nabanja, the residents tasked Umeme to explain. However, officials explained that they are working tooth and nail to ensure that all Ugandans are connected on the grid. Now, however, the Prime Minister blamed residents for the electricity blackout, saying they vote opposition members who cannot demand anything from government. She appealed to the people of Wakiso to vote only for NRM candidates and President Yoweri Museveni. Moving on, the Electoral Commission has disqualified over 5 candidates from contesting in Soroti City and District for 2026 general elections. Now, among those affected was Ellen Agoro, an independent candidate for the District Female Workers Councillor, who also identifies as an NRM supporter. Others include 3 youth aspirants, 2 males and 1 female. Agaro broke down in tears at Soroti Luchiko Hall after the district returning officer disqualified her, clearing Rachel unopposed for the position. The 3 youth candidates were similarly disqualified by the returning officer of Soroti City. Returning officer Joseph Mkwaya said Agaro failed to meet the Electoral Commission's requirements and advised her, if not content, to appeal to the headquarters in Kampala. Mukwaya confirmed that 4 candidates were successfully nominated for Soroti District Chairperson: Bob Ogwinyi, NRM, Vincent Nomu, Independent, John Michael Osega, Independent, and John Calvin Elenyu, FDC. Agaro criticized the commission for bias and alleged corruption, claiming she had fulfilled all requirements. Meanwhile, Councillor aspirant for persons with disability, Stephen Atepu, explained his motive to contest, while Nup Soroti City Chairperson George William Okiot questioned why the system could not filter candidates for interest groups. The National Information and Technology Authority and Personal Data Protection Office has launched a nationwide campaign on cybersecurity, data protection and privacy. The acting executive director, Nita U. Arnold Mangeni, said the campaign Vera Kugad raises awareness to cyber crimes online and offline. Uganda Police Annual Crime Report of 2023 indicates that 245 cyber crimes were reported, with 1.5 billion shillings lost and only 377.4 million shillings recovered. The lost money was the main transaction online through hacking into someone's online account, all unsolicited direct calls or messages. The National Information and Technology Authority launched the nationwide campaign on cyber security, data protection and privacy. Mangeni said raising awareness will curb cyber-related crimes. Data protection experts urge citizens to be vigilant, cautious and aware about what they share online. Now, that brings us to the end of our local stories this morning. Allow me now to focus on what is trending internationally. And I want to begin with Japan, where Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe announced his resignation during a press statement in Tokyo on Sunday following two major election losses. I sincerely apologize for the sudden notice. I have already said I will not be oppressed with opposition, but will make decisions at the appropriate time after I have accomplished what I need to do. At the same time, I have stated that as president, I bear responsibility for the election results, Abe said. I believe that now, as the negotiations regarding U.S. tariffs measures have reached a turning point, it is the right time, and so I have decided to hand over the right path to my successor, he added. Simba resigned after less than a year in office following election defeats which saw his coalition lose its majorities in both houses. Earlier, he had faced opposition challenges over cabinet appointments and party spending, but had resisted calls to step down until Sunday to resolve a U.S. tariff dispute that affected Japanese automotive sector. He also urged the Liberal Democratic Party, LDP, to hold an emergency leadership vote a day before the party was expected to decide whether to hold an internal vote that could have forced him out. Potential successors now include veteran Shinei Takshi, an advocate of Lusafako policy, and Shikirongo Kuzikun, a minister overseeing raising costs. Moving on, Marine Le Pen accused President Emmanuel Macron of driving finances into a state of democratic suffocation as she addressed supporters ahead of a critical parliamentary confidence vote. Speaking in Beni Bourmont on Sunday, the Rassemblement National leader urged swift political change, calling the situation a matter of urgency. Le Pen said that France faced unprecedented crisis under the Fifth Republic. This lack of structural legitimacy organized by the parties of the system has only worsened, plunging the entire nation into uncertainty and anxiety, she stressed. She added that this crisis was caused and fueled by Macron and all those who had served him for the past 8 years. However, dare they will still tell the people in this context that the only solution is to make them pay again, and pay some more, she continued. France's 3.4 trillion deficit and debt, she said, represented the sum of all the spending and all the reluctances of the leaders over the last 4 decades. Supporters at the rally echoed her statements, which one emphasizing that Macron was elected within 17% of the vote. Now, as we come to the end of our local stories this morning, let's look at Boko Haram militants who killed dozens of people in a nighttime assault on a village in northeast Nigeria that is home to residents who had recently returned from a camp for internally displaced persons. Authorities said the attack on Dur Jamara in the Bama local government area took place late Friday and killed at least 60 people, a resident of the village, Muhammad Banganan, told the Associated Press. Baron State government, Bagana's room, who visited the attacked community late Saturday evening, confirmed to reporters that over 60 died in the attack. The chairman of Bama's local government, Mudu Guja, said over a dozen houses were burnt and more than 100 people were forced to flee. Taiwo Adebayo, a researcher specializing in Boko Haram at the Institute of Security Studies, spoke to residents of Badur Jamar and said the killings on Friday night were carried out by a faction of Boko Haram known as Jama Ututu Ilasa Suna Leader Quat. That is the name given to this faction. Now, with that, we come to the end of our local and international stories, and it is time now we look at what the papers have for us this morning, and we'll begin with the New Vision this morning. Let's see what is there for us in the Vision this morning. Now, in the New Vision, top police officers under probe. Who are these officers that are under probe? Well, the New Vision gives you more of that. Still looking at the New Vision, we have Nup losers opt for Besigye party. And still there, we see in the New Vision, we still see issues regarding the Kagezi murder. Now, a fresh twist in Kagezi murder, but also Buganda NRM MPs meet Museveni. Well, there is a picture there. Is it the Buganda NRM members of parliament meeting the president? Then Maria Kiwanuka's son found dead in the USA. Well, very unfortunate incident there. Still looking at the New Vision, over 30 years of Oyo's reign. Now Komuntale appointed tourism envoy to USA. Yo, that is the sister to the king of Toro. And MP Malende husband in bitter split over what happened. Oh, still there, not good timing though. And a list of political parties dominating district and cities. So you get yourself a copy of the New Vision. Those are just some of the highlights in the papers. Now allow me quickly move to the Citizen. Winners and losers as bank lending speed slows down. But let me look at what the Daily Monitor has for me this morning. Now, the Daily Monitor, the rise of Uganda's dollar millionaires. What is that? Well, you can only know when you get yourself a copy. And they are giving you figures there. Let me also look at here how Bobby Giant was picked up. That took through the weekend, Bobby Giant's arrest, and Ugandan priest who became bishop in the United States. Who is that? Well, you have more. Then Kamonkoli College shines in all-level skilling project. That is on the top of the Daily Monitor, where we have Kamonkoli College shines in all-level skilling. And U.S. deportees, Russia rejects Uganda over rights concern. Oh, so it chooses not to come. Okay, now let me leave the Daily Monitor at that and I go back to the Citizen. Now in there, winners and losers as bank lending speed slows down. Now who are the losers? Who are the winners? Well, Samia pledges a revival of cooperatives, business hubs to boost Ringa traders, and why Tanzania continues to sidestep debts during election campaigns. Now, also in the Citizen, Doyo reveals pain that ignited his bid for presidency. And of course, there is so much regarding politics in Tanzania there. Now, let me quickly go to Kenya here. There is 98 pieces of schools submit data in efforts to curb capitation fraud. And we have inside State House, police hiring drama. And still in the Daily Nation, we have priest linked to Kawabia Nzora cult. Well, it seems for Kenya, cults are still a very big problem there. We hope no death come in there. And still there are more stories there, but you can only get yourself a copy and have a look at more of these stories. So that is what we're able to capture for you in the press this morning. But of course, more when you get yourself a copy. Let's take a break and enjoy the song of the day. Keep it with us.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
It's just wonder again. When can I just see the love of the Lord upon you? Oh, fana nyenyo mkisa nao.
This, but of course, many social media platforms were talking about this. X, some prominent TikTokers here in Uganda and globally were talking about this. So I don't know where you were, or if you took part, if you tried, if you've even been following up on this story, because it's something that we really expected and many people took it into. But if you didn't, well, that happened, and you can still go back and check through events what really transpired. Well, allow me now take you through some of the local stories that we were able to get for you, and we feel, yes, you should take a second glance at them. Now, we begin with the residents of Wakiso district who have tasked officials from Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited to explain why power keeps going off since they took over Umeme. Now, this was during a meeting with the Prime Minister of Uganda, Robert Nabanja, at Wakiso District Headquarters. The government, through the Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited, UEDCL, took over management and distribution of electricity from Umeme. However, UEDCL is still grappling with a lot of challenges of power blackouts across the country. Now, during a meeting with the Prime Minister, Robert Nabanja, the residents tasked Umeme to explain. However, officials explained that they are working tooth and nail to ensure that all Ugandans are connected on the grid. Now, however, the Prime Minister blamed residents for the electricity blackout, saying they vote opposition members who cannot demand anything from government. She appealed to the people of Wakiso to vote only for NRM candidates and President Yoweri Museveni. Moving on, the Electoral Commission has disqualified over 5 candidates from contesting in Soroti City and District for 2026 general elections. Now, among those affected was Ellen Agoro, an independent candidate for the District Female Workers Councillor, who also identifies as an NRM supporter. Others include 3 youth aspirants, 2 males and 1 female. Agaro broke down in tears at Soroti Ruchiko Hall after the district returning officer disqualified her, clearing Rachel unopposed for the position. The 3 youth candidates were similarly disqualified by the returning officer of Soroti City. Returning officer Joseph Mkwaya said Agaro failed to meet the Electoral Commission's requirements and advised her, if not content, to appeal to the headquarters in Kampala. Mukwaya confirmed that 4 candidates were successfully nominated for Soroti District Chairperson: Bob Owinyi, NRM, Vincent Nomu, Independent, John Michael Osega, Independent, and John Calvin Elenyu, FDC. Agaro criticized the commission for bias and alleged corruption, claiming she had fulfilled all requirements. Meanwhile, Councillor aspirant for persons with disability, Stephen Atepu, explained his motive to contest, while Nup Soroti City Chairperson George William Okiot questioned why the system could not filter candidates for interest groups. The National Information and Technology Authority and Personal Data Protection Office has launched a nationwide campaign.
Don't scare me. Good. Condoms can protect you from HIV and other STIs, but not Mpox. If that person has the Mpox skin rash, he will also contract the disease SEMU. What? Yes, SEMU. And from there, you will spread it to your loved ones, your lovely wife, and your children, who may suffer serious disease and even die.
Thanks, Geno. I heard about it earlier, but I just brushed it off as well. So I am cancelling this useless program and going home to my loved ones. Bye, Gino. Bye.
Good decision. You see, that is being responsible, Semu. Hey, by the way, before you go, just give me at least a 50k.
Mpox is real. Protect yourself and the loved ones. Stay safe and do not indulge in casual sex or other risky behaviors. For more information about Mpox, call the Ministry of Health toll-free line on 0800 1066 or send a free SMS to YouReport on 8500. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF, WHO, and its partners.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Thank you for being with us on UBC TV. We are still here and ensuring that you're well versed with what is happening local and internationally, but also looking at issues that matter so much to us. Now, this morning we are going to be looking at the status of electricity in Uganda, and of course the way there is a campaign, an update. If you remember very well, UEDCL earlier on this month, last month, we saw them start a campaign that is giving amnesty to people using electricity, wherever you are. If you have issues, either it was a connection not very clear, you have a wrong meter. You know, when I talk of a meter that is wrong, one will ask, but Robert, what do you mean? Well, you could be Robert Chirabo Nyonyitono, and the meter at your premises is John and Kiza. It is in those names. And you've been paying very well, but that meter belonged to somebody else. It was either stolen and now you're using it. So they are saying, even with such meter, go to their offices. It is an amnesty period. No any charges will be trumped on you. Nothing. You just sort things and get the right meter. Neither will they take you in for electricity you've been consuming illegally. Maybe you've been looping or anything of that kind. The table of grace is still present. But when it comes to the 30th of September at 5 p.m., well, grace will be done and it will be time for judgment. Now, Christians understand that better. So do not wait for the wrath of God, if I may say, in that side, to be arrested, to have all sorts of challenges come your way. Go and make things clear. But even amidst that, there are many concerns. Earlier on, I read a story where residents of Wachiso were complaining to the Prime Minister, saying, why is it that since UEDCL took over Umeme, power blackouts have become power blackouts in our community? Now, her answer to them was, well, don't vote opposition, vote NRM, vote President Museveni, because then this will be able to bring out your problems in the right time. However, I don't want to bother myself so much explaining these things here and there. I have the head of corporate and stakeholders affairs, Jenan Kiza, with me in studios, with whom we are going to be finding solutions and explanations to the challenges we are facing. You're most welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chirabo, and very good morning to our viewers across the country and across the globe. We bring you greetings from UEDCL, and we want to thank you for taking part in ensuring that we shape a positive narrative for this country amidst so many trials, Mr. Chirabo. Speaking about electricity, it's very interesting now. We are in a political season. We are seeing some semblance of people trying to politicize this asset on the side of utilities. It is unfortunate, to be honest. We've seen people striking, blocking roads, burning tires, mention it all sorts of things, all in the pain of electricity. And we want to say to them our apologies, but also we want to appeal to them to remain calm and give us the opportunity to work and also make things right.
Now, first things first.
Yes.
Jenan, why is it that since you took over Umeme, we are facing power blackouts? Sometimes when the power is there, it is useless. You know, the meter will show you, but the bulbs can't go on. You can't watch TV. You can't even boil water. The water heaters will not work. If you're having a percolator, still it won't work. How come during Umeme we didn't have these challenges? Now here you come, you assured me and the nation, we are ready, we are not going to have these issues. What went wrong? What is it that you're failing to do?
Mr. Chirabo and our dear viewers across the country, there is nothing that has failed and there is nothing which has gone wrong. You know, in the other discourse of academia, there is what we call a problem statement. We need to look at the problem statement very well. What is exactly the issue? What were the issues then? Mr. Chirabo, I have kept on insisting on this, that for the last 3 years, from the time the decision not to renew the Umeme's concession was made, there are no investments which were made in the electricity subsector, especially the distribution side. Now, to a person who is viewing us, you may look at it as a small thing, but on the side of us, the operators, we know it is actually a big reason why we are facing so many challenges. Now, when we talk of investment, what do we mean? We are looking at the entire assets. Let me just break down a few for the purpose, especially for all those who are consuming electricity. Look at the power lines, how they look like, especially from one point to another point. Look at the transformers. Most of the transformers across towns, at townships, municipalities, most of them have not changed. But yet you are seeing buildings every second, every other day, buildings getting complete and buildings being powered. They are relying, they are drawing on already constrained network, which had not been invested in. So whatever we are talking about here, Mr. Chirabo, these are consequences of inadequate investments being put in the electricity supply distribution segment for the last 3 years. And you are saying what went wrong. That is exactly what went wrong, because we did not sow in this asset. And the reason why we didn't sow also is well explained, because there was a running contract of Umeme, and there was no way how we would have come in as government at that time to invest in the segment, in the distribution segment, because that would mean again we are breaching the contract. So there are things that we would really love you to appreciate, where government is coming from and where we are, that the patient, yes, could be actually sick. We found the patient sick, but you again don't blame the doctor for actually who is making sure that the patient gets better, and now we are condemning the doctor for not doing adequate work.
Now,
a lot is being done.
I love the example you've given.
Yes.
To the public, this patient came sick,
yes,
but was able to speak and eat. Now, under your treatment, the patient cannot eat, cannot speak. That is what the public is looking at. Why? I'll give my personal example. I used to have electricity, and I had forgotten about road shading. I'd forgotten about present but absent electricity. Now, today I can hardly enjoy life the way I used to enjoy it. Now, with this system, how was Umeme able to ensure that people were able to use the electricity? And when you came in this system, is it that your engineers are not good enough? They don't understand what they are doing? Is it deliberate? Because we had a scenario, I don't think they had any new Like you said, they are not investing, but Ugandans were getting electricity.
You see, Mr. Chirabo, at this time we are also grappling with honesty. I am also a consumer of electricity. I am a customer as well. Before we took over operations on 1st of April, my home area here in Kampala had been off for 3 weeks. So to be very honest, I don't know which reference you're making to that. Things actually were very good the other time.
Not very good, but
things were good, but now things are getting
the
worse.
Residents of Wachiso, the bulletin I've just read, now I know you're good at reading. If you read through, this was a meeting that had the Prime Minister.
Yes, we participated yesterday.
And you participated.
That's
now,
absolutely.
these are not my words alone or sharing my experience. It is evident. If I open phone calls, many Ugandans will tell you so. So tell the Ugandans the problem so that they can
Mr. Chirabo, the problem, I have already spoken about it, and even yesterday when we were with the Right Honorable Prime Minister, we actually did speak to her on the same. We have adequately updated her office in respect of the status of power supply, not only her but also cabinet. You see, Mr. Chirabo, I want you to appreciate that most of the substations that we have here in Kampala are operating above 85%. And I don't know whether you know what that means on the side of electricity supply. It means, one, it is risky to run assets above 85%. Thus, it requires to adequately inject in a lot of investments to ensure that we don't trade in those risky margins. Number two, the patterns of growth, especially across the Wakiso area, stretching even right from the substations that supply these areas, talk of substations at Mutundwe, talk of the substation at Namugongo, and partly substations at Namamve. All of them are constrained. What does that mean? It means it is true the status will not be as completely excellent as it would have been if these substations were operating in their normal margins. Now, you need to appreciate that in these 160 days, a lot has been done to ensure that we put up adequate infrastructure, especially on the side of substations. Now, a substation, to have it fully functional, you need not less than 12 months. You have an aspect of buying land, you have an aspect of shipping in these power transformers, because they are not made from here, actually. We import them from abroad. So it's not really something that we are smiling over and also just sleeping and watching, but we are working back end to ensure that we redress this situation. The unfortunate part is, you on the side of the end user, there are things that we may not come publicly to say that now we are setting up a substation, because it's a process. We wouldn't want to keep coming here that now we are importing transformers. They are in Mombasa. It's a process. You know the procurement cycle of government, and you also know that you need lead time to have some of these critical components of the substations being manufactured, tested, and imported here to meet the standard. So in these first 4 months, that is what we are doing. And also, we need to appreciate that the customers on the side of the network are also growing. I remember I was here about, I think, 1.5 months ago, and I told you we remained with a backlog of customers who approximately were around 128. As we speak today, we have connected 100,000 plus. We are adding them on the network. What does that one also mean? It means you're adding on traffic on the network, and moreover, by the way, the network is already constrained. So we are trying to meet that challenge of ensuring that customers who were delayed in terms of connections are added on the grid, but also we are expediting to do a lot of improvements on the network. And that is why every time and again, I think you keep seeing my tweets making notices on upcoming shutdowns. We do
just have another one here, yes, where you talked about the shutdowns. And I see places like Lira, Wanda here,
yes,
also Banda here.
Yes.
So you're indicating
so we are working, yes, we are working back end. But you see the unfortunate part
that is on our screen.
Yes. The unfortunate part of these shutdowns is they will affect you, the customer. Because when we are working, we switch off power. Now, that is where the pain is coming from, Mr. Chirabo. And that's where we want our customers to appreciate what we are in at this moment. We are in a period where we are revamping. Already we have already specified that the past 3 years we didn't have adequate investments. The adequate investments, even what remained here, Mr. Chirabo, the status of the power lines doesn't look nice out there. And I know people can attest to this. We are doing revamp. And this revamp, of course, is going to affect reliability. And I remember even when I was here, in the first month of April, I told you that we are going to experience a little of turbulence. We are going to, that one really, there is no shy about it. And I want to look into your eyes. Why? Because I know the product that we are dealing in requires us to switch off power. We'll continue upgrading, but also we want to prepare people. The other unfortunate part we continue to witness is, much as we are revamping the network, but also we are being impeded by people who are vandalizing these networks. It's a big pain. Most of the blackouts that we have in Kampala are either as a result of people who are stealing power, on top of those we actually know in our system. Number two, people who are vandalizing power lines from all corners of the townships. It is serious than what even you can even imagine. We have cases here in Mkono. People have been off supply for some good months. Why? Lines have been rolled off. Meanwhile, you're trying to work here and stabilize the network. People are rolling these power lines and taking them for personal gains, really, I would really say. Transformers are being spoiled each day that passes by. People are draining it. They are draining the oil out. So it's really a very delicate balance, and we would also love you to appreciate where we are coming from. Remember, this is also still a period where we are still in a transition, because the transition, Mr. Chirabo, has not ended. So many things are still changing. You could have seen the switch happening, you could have seen offices function, but it doesn't mean that the transition has stopped. There are so many things that we are still managing, which probably would have not been dealt with in the past era. So we want to really come here and speak hope. The situation is not bad as you are saying it. The situation, in some areas, there are challenges, but also there are achievements that have been made. And we wouldn't want to over-concentrate so much on the things that are not being done.
General,
yes.
First, my concern as a consumer is when, do you have an estimated period? That be patient, after this period we expect things to get better, because they aren't.
Actually, I remember also that question, Mr. Chirabe answered it, and I'm going to answer it again.
Yes.
There is a reason why government has given us money to invest in the distribution network for this period of 1 year. I remember telling you that we received $74 million to invest in this network for this year, 2025. So if you ask me of the time frame must speak to the investments. And the reason why these investments are allowed, because the regulator knows what is needed for a fully functional and robust distribution grid. However, also take note of this, that as we are investing on the side of distribution, transmission is equally investing. But also that one means something on the side of our reliability, our supply to you, the consumer, that when they are making investments on their side, they still also have to cut us off supply. We cannot serve you. So it is something that we really want you to appreciate.
The biggest concern to Ugandans, we are not in shortage of electricity in this country.
Yes,
our dams, government of Uganda has invested so much. We even have surplus, not so?
Yes, Mr. Chirabo.
But the challenge we do have is how we get this electricity from the dam or generation site to your house. That is where we are having the complications. And then
that is also no longer a challenge, Mr. Chirabo and our viewers, because government has rolled out schemes that are aimed at giving you meters for free. We have the electricity connection policy, we have the electricity access scale-up project. All those are aimed at adding about 900 new customers by the end of 2027.
So as you have to build capacity.
Absolutely, you have to make the network robust. And that is also being done through the investments which are going on. But you have also mentioned a very important aspect, which we also want to really bring to life. You'll appreciate that in the past, I think, decade or more, government has been driving so much investments in the generation and transmission segment. Take note of this, Mr. Chirabo. This was not the case on the side of distribution. You need to appreciate that. Yes, you are saying the dams are very many, but if you look at the curve, of investments on the side of generation, are they in covenant with those on the side of distribution, you will find the answer is no. But also that one has a strategic explanation, because at that time we are grappling with the issues of installed capacity. We didn't have enough supply on the side of generation. So government devoted its efforts to ensure that we boost up our generation side. But today what we are talking about, when you see investments of this caliber, $74 million, government is talking about injecting close to about $350 million in the next 3 years. It is trying to bring to balance the distribution aspect, the distribution segment with the generation segment to ensure that the milestones can be on the same weighing scale. And you know much this very well, that government invests through programs. You realize that in the past, why we were focusing on generation, because that's where the pressures were. Today the pressures are on the distribution side, and that's why you're seeing government is investing on the side of transmission and also on the side of distribution to ensure that we don't water down the achievements that we have on the generation segment. So it's really a work in progress, and we just need to request for people to be calm that things are actually going to get better. The instabilities you're talking about across the country, we appreciate them, and even yesterday people were able to raise issues. But also among the people who raised issues, you'll also appreciate that there are people who appreciate that actually there is a fundamental change in supply in different parts of the country.
Well, I don't know, it is up to you, the viewer, if there is a fundamental change in the supply of electricity, but you know they're the clients.
Yes.
So you cannot be at the same time a judge in the same again. So we wait for them. Comments will be coming in now. Let's look at the Wait as a campaign.
Yep.
You mentioned vandalism, people vandalizing property. But one thing that always comes to my mind, with all honesty, an ordinary Ugandan may not be able, a transformer is not on ground, to climb, even know where to touch, to drain, you call it oil, in this transformer. I can't. I mean, I don't know how many of you people even have climbing, you call them climbing shoes or climbing gadgets, that I can get up an electricity pole and drain it. It must be Janan and his colleagues working there. I don't know how many of an ordinary Ugandan can connect an illegal connection with free electricity. Man, power kills, so we wouldn't do that. This is an inside thing, Janan. Why aren't you raining on your people? Recently we saw people doing fresh interviews and all this. Why weren't you able to sieve out those that are causing this commotion? In the Wait as a campaign, people are going to be arrested after the Wait as a campaign. But some will innocently be criminals. How? A staff came, and one of the instances I usually give is a meter. I'm Robert Chirabo Nyonyitono. I thought I was dealing with genuine people. They gave me a meter. I pay my yaka very well. I pay. And someone says, but they have been even taking, I pay, I see light. I come on my phone. So, what are you doing even before we go to the ordinary Ugandan to clean your house that is messing up and innocently luring people into criminality, yet they are benefiting? At the end of the day, they will be the ones to pay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kirabo, for your deep analysis. I don't want to disagree with you because I respect your opinion. But I also want you to take a look as you're driving back home. Look at the electricity poles. They are pictures of candidates. Some are pasted on the transformers. Some are put high up, close to the power voltage lines. The question I want to ask you also, are those pictures put by distribution staff?
Definitely not, but these ones I get a ladder and simply. But
so in the same vein, Mr. Chirabo, people are actually climbing these poles when they are actually non-technical. In the same vein, they are able to climb and put a poster up there and hang it on the power lines. They are able to harvest the same power lines without the experience you are referring to. So it's something that we are grappling with to explain.
Are you refuting the fact that
absolutely
you have staff in UEDCL who are carrying out these activities?
I am refuting it. I am refuting it with the strong energy and also based on reasons. The our country has grown, and you need to appreciate that technical schools are producing people each year that passes by. In the technical field, both electrical engineering, mechanical, and mention it all. Not all of them are absorbed and they work in government. So it means you have a space of technical people who are not necessarily employees of UEDCL, and they have the same skills.
How do
so
they
for you to
access the
say,
meters? How do they give me a meter in your name? This is a young man who graduated from Kaba Standard Technical Institute, but if he can come to UEDCL and give me a meter and install it, then these boys are the cleverest chaps on earth. They break into your offices?
We are going to mix up two issues, Mr. Chirabo, and I'm going to answer that. But let's us first finish on the aspect of the technical ability of people to climb poles and harvest wires. You'll also appreciate that we are not the only monopoly of poles in this country. There are other people who use poles for fiber and etc. They also use the same climbers to actually string the cables for data and other telecom companies. So the issue is not the tools to use. The tools to use are all over, because we are not a monopoly in this space. That's very important for you to note. So that number two, you're saying the issue of meters in one name being shifted to another person's name. There are integrity issues in some cases. They are there and we don't dispute them. But we are also saying that where we find an integrity issue, let us not refuse to report. Because people are hesitant to make reports. We remain picking some of these sentiments from air. And even if you release phone calls today, someone will tell you, so and so took my money. But if you ask them to give you evidence, they will hesitate. So you deny us chance to actually clean out these people who are not serving you well. So we also request that as we are trying to normalize connections on the other side, also help us to normalize people who are trading against the ethics of the company. If someone gives you a meter not in your names, don't see it. You know that person, walk to UEDCL. But of course people will always fear the repercussions. There are no repercussions. If you have to make a report, make a report. So we want to really alert people to just be cautious, not to be gullible and not to be stolen. We have said it even on air and on several fronts that electricity connection costs as low as 30,000 Uganda shillings. But people have refuted it out there. They are saying you're lying. Even now as they're watching, they are saying, no, that's a lie, it's not true. But that's what is paid in the system. If you ask them what they pay on top and where they pay it, no one will want to explain to you where they pay that money.
Like there's no cash transaction.
Absolutely.
When,
so Mr. Chirabo, it is really a call to Ugandans that let us first of all appreciate positions of these entities. If the entity says an electricity connection costs as low as 30,000, anybody who asks you above 30,000 should be a reason for you to actually drag him to the nearest police. Because that is a different charge from what has been approved by ERA and also approved by the entity. So it is really something that we can win, the two of us. You, the consumer of energy, and also the entity. Give us the required tools to actually clean up these people.
Well, time seems to be flying very fast. And I'll just give you a few minutes to quickly go through what are the gains and challenges that we have faced in the Wait There Is a campaign, because soon it will be coming to an end and hell will go loose on arresting people found guilty.
Absolutely. The gains are, today we are hitting close to 15,000 respondents to the Wait There Is a campaign. That is not a small achievement, Mr. Chirabo. You've been asking why power is going off. The reason is actually in the Wait There Is a campaign. If 15,000 people can come out and they say that we have been using power illegally, that should speak to the ability of that transformer that you have in your community. How many people are on it illegally? I think that answers mostly why we are having challenges on the side of supply. But also, most importantly, about 40% of these people under the Wait There Is a campaign have been connected. That's a very big gain. However, I also need to note this. 75% of our constituency that we have received is from Kampala and the surrounding areas. Wandegeya, Chitintale, mention them all. Ntinda, Mokono, Natete, Nansana. That's the constituency. 75% of the 15,000 Wait There Is a respondents are from Kampala. That implies to you that the biggest challenge, most of the biggest cries that we are having a resultant of this central business district, but also as a result of these illicit acts that we are doing on the network. It is first of all constraining transformers, it is constraining our power lines, and definitely reaching and causing us a lot of trips. Remember, we are adding on customers on the other side. But lastly, as we are also cleaning up, as people are coming through, we are also still grappling with, again, illegal connections. People are tapping. I think in the past few months we have taken close to about maybe 10 tons of solidos out of some area here in Salam. Over 10 tons. Now, that's where the challenge is. We are removing, people are adding. But we are still in a window where we have actually decided to use the spiritual hand. And when we pull the other diabolic hand of invoking the law, I know things are going to be different. So we want to call upon our people to rush and declare their status to the company. We are confidential. We have not published anybody who has come out to normalize their connections, and we want to continue pledging that we shall not disclose anybody who comes to us. What we are speaking are only the numbers, not the details, the contacts and etc. So fear. There are no legal consequences. That when you declare that we shall take you to court for having maybe tapped electricity legally. Number 3, we are also not charging you for whatever energy you have been using for the past period you have used it. What we want is you to normalize your connection. And we want to stick by the principles which were given to us by our shareholder. But also, most importantly, Mr. Chirabo and our viewers out there, there are 4 critical things that I want us to appreciate that this transition has brought to us. Number 1, to date, we have paid close to about 535 billion Uganda shillings to UETCL. And I keep mentioning this for all the transitions that have happened, the 7 transitions that have happened in this country. All these private players have gone back with government money. They have not paid government. In other words, if this transition did not have impact, we would not be able to pay the transmission bill to date. But also transmission will not be in position to pay the generators, the money you are talking about. They would have packed and gone back home. That's very important. Number 2, we are trying to take a direction of procuring things from our local market. And this means a lot. 1, money is remaining in our economy. We are buying cables, we are buying transformers, we are buying meters from this market here. All, entirely. All procurements are locally driven. Why? What do we want to achieve? We want to achieve the ability of our economy to stand in the coming days. So we want you to really appreciate that much as there are so many things that may not be going right on your side, I want to assure you that we are doing all it takes to ensure that we revamp the network, we invest a lot of money, but also our window is still open for people to normalize their connections. Don't sleep if you have an illegal
Janan,
meter.
I'll find more time for you to be here, but I can't let you go without a few messages coming in from our viewers. Now, good morning, sir. I submitted Wetereze online for faulty meter, but up to now I have received, I think he wanted to say I haven't received the meter. Good morning, people. Thank you for the program. Well, thank you for watching. Does that mean we are having power on and off because of transmission? What activities are being done in Namisindwa that make us miss power almost 6 to 7 hours daily? We are regretting why the government brought in UEDCL, and yet we were very fine and doing well with Umeme in terms of regular supply. We applied for electricity power supply 10 years back, but we haven't got any feedback. Our entire area is large. How can we know if we are under consideration? Our area is Ranika village in Masaba Parish, Masaba Sub-County in Busia District. We have 4 schools, trading centers and homes without electricity nearby. My name is Justin Bali Kudembe. Thank you so much, Justin. And please allow me maybe stop at these, the messages. Okay, Mr. Chirabo, tell that gentleman that here in Jinja, an area called Namulesa, there are more people stealing power than those paying for it. And it is done by the boys who move with their staff. Well, messages are coming in. I can only take maybe this last one. My question is, why is their unit is at a higher cost? Well, messages are so many. Janan will need more time, allow me. But please maybe hint on one or two critical. So that we move out of here. There is time for more programming and Tourism Express.
Okay, fine. Apologies. I know we are short of time, but the person who is from Namisi Ndwa, investments are coming. That area has already been mapped, and I think you have been seeing works are ongoing from the side of Kumi, and we shall span through the entire eastern region. Let him relax, we are coming. Ruanika village, if you have been surveyed, be assured we shall connect you. There are processes we undergo before we do this kind of investments. Jinja, there are people stealing power than those ones paying for it. We know that place. And we are calling upon you to come and normalize. Don't wait for the window to close before you normalize your connections. Units are higher. This is absolutely not true. The units of electricity have continued to actually reduce from the time the transition was announced on 31st of December 2024. We reduced the tariff by 5.2 as government. We reduced it by 14% on 1st of April. So it's not true to say that the units of electricity are high as compared to what they were in the other times. He submitted for a meter for Wetereze. I want you to really be considerate that we are going to come to you. We have 15,000 respondents, and surely all of them, as they are in the system, we shall give them their meters.
Well,
so
Jan,
we'll
it's
be
been a
able
pleasure
to
having you. Thank you so very much for finding time and joining me this morning. That is what we had for you as far as distribution and the Wetereze campaign. Please rectify things before it is too late. September 30th, 5 p.m. Well, Umeme, the hand of mercy, UEDCL, the hand of mercy will be no more. And what you see are police officers and UEDCL staff arresting you. Well, Zakia Lucky, she must be ready to take us through Tourism Express, and let's enjoy that. I'll return later. Keep it with us.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Revered as the patrons of the wild, my horn stood tall, announcing my presence among Africa's Big Five. Yet, with all my strength, I struggled to survive. Then Uganda Wildlife Authority gave us something, a safe home at the Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary. And here we begin to thrive again. Today, we are 48 members strong, with 17 cows, ready to take our unique story into the future. This is your lifetime opportunity to name a rhino, and with it, find the conservation efforts that keep our story alive. For more information, visit our website, www.ugandawildlifeauthority.org.
Taxation is a bit complicated, and the only way to demystify it and make it as easy to understand and to comply with is through engagement. Is there a limit to the number of cars a returning citizen is bringing into Uganda? Who has paid the excise duty on this water is not the supermarket which has sold you this bottle at 1,000. It's not the business. It is the man who is going to drink this water. We strongly believe that it will only be through such constructive engagement that we'll be able to broaden our tax base and build our country together.
Buza Commissioner. Now you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887, and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Tune in to UBC News Tonight every Monday and Wednesday for expert insights and clear explanations. Buza Commissioner.
Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala.
We have to change the political culture in this country, really. Who has bewitched Ugandans?
I want to assure you, as government, we shall do whatever it takes to ensure that Ugandans are safe.
We have conversations that have analysis, explanation.
This law society, this union of theirs, because they want a job everywhere, they want to be this, they want to be that, they want... No. We know it's a union.
You cannot be making a road, bitumen grade 1, in Congo for 5 billion.
But not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth.
The argument that the General Court Martial is responsible for peace and stability is without basis, either in law or in fact.
We are being told how Napoleon was a great orator. Now, Napoleon cannot help me get food. They told me combine harvesters in Saskatchewan. I don't know where Saskatchewan is. This is a geography we're taught. Instead of teaching me how to preserve Mabera forest, they're teaching me about Rhineland. This is a problem we got. We cannot run away from it.
Right now, you hear very disgusting stories of members of parliament. Instead of discussing the details of loans, they ask for their cuts.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah yo, baby dondolo.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondolo. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000, or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100*21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Brought to you by Uniquely Ours. Explore Uganda.
I welcome you all to Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary. This is the only place in Uganda where you can see white rhinos in the wild on foot. Ziwa is found in the central region of the country, Uganda, Nakasongola district, Nakitoma sub-county. This place started by 2005 after the construction of an electric fence. Though many years ago we used to have over hundreds of rhinos in Uganda, the black and white, but they were all heavily poached and killed during the time of war, 1970s and 1980s. Then 1983 is when the last rhino was seen in Uganda. 1997, when our country, Uganda, was politically fine, it was agreed that was now the right time to bring back rhinos. Rhino Fund Uganda, a non-government organization, was formed up on behalf of the Ugandan government in partnership with Captain Joy Roy, who is the owner of this land. The area was formerly a cattle ranch. So by 2004, this area was chosen as a good feeding habitat for the white rhinos, or breeding habitat. Years back later, in 2001, 2 rhinos were brought in from Kenya, Sorio Ranch, taken to Entebbe Zoo, currently known as the Uganda Wildlife Conservation Education Center, purposely to educate and raise awareness to Ugandans as well visitors about the plight of rhinos. 2004, Ziwa was identified as a special place for breeding the white rhinos, whereby an electric fence was built covering the 70 square kilometers of land. 2005 it was done, then 4 rhinos were brought in from Kenya, 2 males and 2 females. A year later, in 2006, were joined up by a donation of 2 rhinos, all the way from Disney Animal Kingdom, Orlando Zoo, Florida, found in USA. A total of 6 rhinos settled well here in their new home. In 2009, we got our first baby rhino born. A mother coming from US, and then a father from Kenya. An international baby rhino was born. So we had to name the baby Obama. Currently, the total number is 48 white rhinos, all from the original 6. When we get up to a suitable number, we are going to start moving some of them to the second sanctuary that is going to be inside the national park, that is Murchison Falls. And later we carry on with the breeding. So splitting them apart is going to help us to avoid this case of inbreeding, because we only started with 3 males and 3 females. And out of the 3 males, each one has managed to be a father in different feathers. So the sub-adults that are coming up to be adults, the males, they are also soon starting to mate, to make babies, which is going to be inbreeding. So before that, we are going to split them apart, move some of them to the second sanctuary after the DNA test has been carried out. Ziwa is not only the home of white rhinos, it is also a habitat for so many wildlife. We have a group of antelopes like bushback, waterback, Uganda kob, stetunga, redback, grey common duiker. We have recently introduced in the giraffes, zebras, and Jackson hartebeests. We also have nocturnal animals like leopard, genet cat, African civet, we have leopard, jackal, we have mongoose, honey badger, and so many. With also around 340 species of birds, with a special bird called a shoebill that is not often seen everywhere. So this is all what I can say about Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary. Inside Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary, this is a place that also has accommodations. If you want to track a rhino early in the morning hours, you can book a lodge. We have 2 separate lodges. We have Ziwa and then Amuka Lodge. So at Ziwa, Ziwa Lodge is found at the reception or the headquarters of the sanctuary. So when you reach here and you have made a booking, we have staffs that can actually look after you, take you to where you're supposed to be. We also have the chalets. Those are very nice lodges with a swimming pool. There's also a campsite for the campers that would like to camp. That also has a very nice view for animals, like in the evening hours. Most of the antelopes do come on the compound. So if you book at Ziwa Rhino Lodge, you'll get a good experience of seeing so many wildlife. Thank you for listening. Welcome to Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary.
Brought to you by Uniquely Ours. Explore Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
The government's commanded is to maintain law and order, safeguard citizens' rights, and provide essential public services.
Remember, one of the pillars of the roadmap is innovation and entrepreneurship.
There has been this question of how are you protecting our indigenous seed?
It's going to be a tall project that answers somebody's question.
The front bench has brought you insightful discussions on governance, security, healthcare, justice, and commerce.
Why do you go through this complicated procedure, involve the lawyers? You bring the case against him, the judge will hear you out and pass judgment, and you're out of court in record time.
We remain committed to keeping you informed and engaged on key national matters.
So these are huge, these are powerful organizations which now Uganda chairs. Why don't you come together?
If we haven't migrated to the e-card because of various reasons, including that not all the people of Uganda have smartphones.
You can sit in your house, apply for a passport. If you have a Ugandan who has a successful logistics firm in the US, it means he can come to Uganda and do a lot more.
Every Monday at 8:30 p.m. with me, Jethro Kasaiji, your interface with the government only on your public broadcaster, UBC, Inspiring Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
It is GMU Business, and we begin with some business stories here with us this morning. Now, we begin with the Uganda Parliamentary Forum for Creative Arts has partnered with the Uganda Society for Architects for an annual symposium to highlight the impact of architecture and creative arts on Uganda's GDP. Now, the Creative Arts Forum chairperson, Rachel Magola, said the event provides a platform for Ugandans to exchange ideas on how the creative arts sector can attract investment. Globally, the creative industry generates an estimate of 4.3 US trillion every year and supports nearly 30 million jobs, according to UNESCO. Uganda Bureau of Statistics noted that the sector contributes 4.1% to the country's GDP. In comparison, countries like Nigeria generate about 600 million US dollars and employ over 1 million people, according to IMF industry studies. The chairperson of the Uganda Parliamentary Forum for Creative Arts, Rachel Magola, said the current creative arts legislation is inadequate, underlining the relevancy of the symposium. She called for a consolidation of administrative frameworks across creative ministries to attract more investment. Magola also emphasized the critical role architects play in national development, acknowledging their close affiliation with the creative industry. The president of the Uganda Association of Architects, Jacqueline Namayanja, highlighted the importance of architects in public infrastructure development, noting that the current building control policy often excludes their input. The annual symposium is scheduled for the 11th of September under the theme Sustainable Architecture and Creative Economy. Moving on, the Minister for Gender, Labour and Social Development, Betty Amongi, pledged continued support to youth who have innovative and championing change with business models. While presiding over a business exhibition in Nira, Betty Amongi said the government has several programs to empower youth economically. Among those showcasing their work was 18-year-old Justin Abongakene, who dropped out of school in 2020. He trained as a phone and electric repairer technician. Today, he fixes gadgets and trains his younger brother, who left school in primary 3. Justin has to struggle with the costly tools and mistrust from clients because of his age. Justin is among many youth who exhibited under the Business for Peace model, a program that helps young people access livelihood outside formal employment. The exhibition featured enterprises in furniture, garments, crafts, weavery, clay models, paintings, and agricultural technologies. Raphael Okwiri produces hibiscus wine but cites high taxation and certification costs that hamper youth enterprise. The Minister for Gender, Labour and Social Development, Betty Amungi, toured stores and pledged government support to youth innovations. Unemployment is a problem among the 75% youth who make up Uganda's population. Learning institutions release about 800,000 graduates who are either unskilled or semi-skilled. The only hope remains in skilling. Now, away from the business stories, let's look at what the Forex have for us as of Friday. Now, we begin with the US dollar. It was buying at 3,515.05 and selling at 3,525.05. By midday, that was Friday, it was at 3,514.73 and selling at 3,524.73. Now, by closure of business, it was at 3,505.36 and selling at 3,515.36. Now we look at the euro. That was at 4,090.75 and selling at 4,102.42. The Kenyan shilling was at 27.13, that is buying and selling at 27.20. Now the Tanzanian shilling was at 1.39 and selling at 1.40. The South African rand was at 197.62 and was selling at 1,098.18. Now that is as of Friday. But you can interest yourself and know how best what you have in case you want to buy or you want to sell in terms of foreign currency, and just wish you the best. For which Forex will give you the best rates around town or wherever you are. Now we'll take a break and we'll return with Good Morning Uganda agenda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice in our world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Maskari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archive stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, every story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.